Hi, our mystery topic is on health effects due to the exposure of pesticides in agricultural farming. And this is our team. Here we're going to talk about a pesticide called endosulfan, which is more dangerous to human health. So endosulfan belong to the family of cyclodines, and it is basically used for killing pests in the crops like cashew, cotton, tea, paddy, and fruits. And the typical exposure to endosulfan comes from air, like when people breathe the air which has the endosulfan and present in it, and from the drinking water, and also from the food where they get from which like if the endosulfan is sprayed over the food, also like they'll get the exposure. The typical exposure of endosulfan takes place in three stages. So first is the mixing and loading in initial products, so where the certain quantity of endosulfan is taken and is mixed with the solvent called water, and they are mixed in a small container or a cylinder. Next is the spraying over the free field. So this way also the spreading will occur when they spray the endosulfan over the farming field. Due to the wind direction in particular area, so that might spread this endosulfan to the nearby villages or nearby communities living over there. Next is that the cleaning the sprays of which the pesticides are placed inside. So while cleaning, they use their hands. So by that way, it directly get contact in the human hands. And major health effects are like that. It affects the nervous system, and next is that it affects the reproductive system, which has caused delayed puberty in menstrual abnormalities, and so much of testosterone effects in our body, and which has also caused some bad impacts on our kidney, liver, and there is a potential cause of cancer as well. The endosulfan was used in a district called Kasargod in state Kerala in India. So this is basically they're used in the cashew plantation. So where they spray the endosulfan over the fields to kill the pest over there. So over the years, what happens is like there were some people living in nearby the area started getting some deformities in their body, and they're getting mentally and physically sick. Even the newborn babies are getting deformities. There was an incident in Kerala in India. So in 1998, they started a protest for this in Kasargod district demanding a ban on endosulfan usage. And in 2002, the High Court of Kerala has put a ban on the endosulfan usage across the state. And in 2011, the Supreme Court of India has asked to pay 500 crores from by the Kerala government to the as a compensation to 5,000 people living nearby. The stakeholders here are identified as who has the power and the power and the interest matrix. And here mainly we'll be considering like who has the high power and high interest. So they are those categories are like NGOs and Supreme Court potential customers, UN, WHO. So which they should be managed closely, and they should be reported and on regular basis. So what's happening and where they're using the pesticides. If there is a verdict by the Supreme Court, they should be properly notified regarding this. And next is that we can call it high power and low interest. So these category of people or the government should be like they should be kept satisfied. And and another category comes as the high interest and low power. So they are basically very important to the in consideration of this endosulfan usage. So they are like basically victims, and the pesticides manufacturers, and the people living by nearby area. And so next is our business plan. So our business plan is very clear. So first what we do is that we do the identification of the potential causes. Let's take like the endosulfan is getting a cost, and what is the health effects on it. So what is the physical and mental health effects on the human being, and we'll do a detailed study on it. So after that, so we'll prepare a strategy, and with the collaboration of the universities, government and corporates. So what kind of strategy we can make upon it, and what is what kind of strategy can be made upon it on in collaboration with these kind of institutes. And next is the implementation of the strategy. During the implementation, we do training, we supply PPE kits, and we try to reduce the risk. And next is the external social impact assessment audit. So to validate our work and if there is any gaps in it. So we'll go for an external audit agency. So they conduct an ISO audits on our work and they certify as a we are doing the right work. So which is generally which is showed for our quality of our work and how we are committed on our work. And next is the review the process and establish new standard. So in this what we do is like we use the continuous implement process in it. So like Kaizen, Lean, Six Sigma. So these things are we will keep and benchmark in it, and we'll keep improving this. Next is in our operation model. So an operation model is that like first we have the pest application identification. We monitor the pest and next is the storage of the pesticides. And this is a basically very important factor because we have to store in a particular place where there is no effect on it by a physical or a chemical nature of the pesticides. And this physical and chemical nature should not change. Next is the prevention. We have to conduct a regular audit on health and safety, HIRA audits, and people over there should be who are working with those pesticides should wear the proper PPUs in this. And controlling. It's like controlling can be done by regular review of their health reports and regular review of the standard operating procedure and regular review of the quality of the work. So by this, like we can control the entire operation of pesticide spraying in particular field. Here we have the business processes. So in one aspect, like we have to use the optimum quality for the of pesticides, which has to be used in particular field or farming fields such as like or cotton or next is that like any other crops. And second is that we have to monitor the wind direction with using wind sockets. And third is we have to establish standard operating procedures, and we have to do a heat assessment to identify the significant hazards. And we can use a concept of solar trapping and carbon dioxide gas inside the solar trapping, so that like when these gases are sent inside there is a deficiency of oxygen inside the tapping, and which makes the pest to die over there. And where and big and with this we can reduce the risk of using a pesticides in any agriculture farming. Here is our business model and funding. So how are we going to get the funding for our business? So one is that the personal investment, so which is like which has very less percentage of our investment, but a large portion of investment will comes from the debit financing, the financing from the loans or any financial institutions, and even the government grants also. Like if we explain the case of the Supreme Court verdict in Kerala pesticide, so we'll get more government grants, so that like instead of paying a fine, they'll pay us for training and doing the groundwork. And other funding groups like NGOs and everything will also contribute a certain portion of funding for a business model. And these are the key business management strategy and activities we're going to perform here. And first is that we'll be collaborating with the industry partners like governments, NGOs, and research bodies. Second is that like we conduct the will have the strategy for key activities like training, R&D. And third, we'll allocate the resources. And fourth is that like we'll have the value proportions, like we have to have healthy farmers, have a better teaching, have a better training to them, and we maintain the customer relationship as well. And also like we'll have a definite cost structure, so that like employees, marketing, communication, and training infrastructure, everything are properly provided in our business model. Here, the training and certification takes place in the following process. First, we'll conduct an internal audit so to identify the gaps in the current process, and then we'll do a groundwork on training and R&D work and other collaboration with industries, and then we do a secondary audit to understand to fulfill the gaps in the audit, and we'll award a certification and we'll get an award from the certification, and every 2 years the auditors again validated. So this entire process is done with the collaboration with an external third-party auditing agency like TUV, not TUV's Audit Bureau Veritas. We have made the location in three different parts of the world. So one is in India. So we'll have the global headquarters over here and we'll operate from here. And next is the global communication center in US, where they collaborate with the research institutes over there. And next is the marketing, which is kept in Ireland. So from here we do the marketing all across the world for our job. And next is the location of the business. So basically, this location for the should be established where there is a huge potential of risk of pesticide is there. So that is like we'll conduct an HERA assessment, and based on the HERA assessment, we'll find the severity of the incident, gravity of the problem, and thus the location of our business will visit the most heavily impacted place first as we try to resolve the issues. Endosulfan has higher rating in HERA assessment compared to other incidents. So the global headquarters is established in India and to support the victims of endosulfan, as well as like to have a proper training to the farmers in using of the endosulfan. And our global communication center will be based on in New Mexico in United States of America. And the location is because we choose this location because it's like economically and politically stable. and and moreover, like when connecting with the universities nearby this, so the researches which are conducted in these universities will be very much similar to the research, or when this research work is carried out in India, so due to the climatic condition, both the research work will give a similar result. So this is why this kind of an location New Mexico is chosen, because the climatic condition does not vary much between the both. And finally is the business strategy. So business will function as an educational training program for local farmers on pesticide usage. Payment must be remitted by the government of the country be held based on the training received by the farmers. And once the business is booming, more consultants are hired and trained in the headquarters in India. And these are our references that we are used for our study. Thank you very much.